everyone. I'm Shadow Witch, and welcome to my circle. It's so beautiful. We are outside today. I hope you can hear me. We had a question recently about types of witches, so I'm going to just go over a few of them for you. What we have discussed in the past: typical witch covers a lot of different types of witches. I don't really consider myself to be any one specific type. You do have different practices, such as Wicca, which covers things like Gardnerian, Alexandrian, Sex, which is Saxony. You have Dianic, which is the feminist, lesbian version of Wicca. Those are more like different flavors. Like Christianity, you have Catholicism, Protestantism, Methodist, Buddhist. I'm Baptist. Buddhist is a different type of religion. So you have different religions, different flavors of religions. And then you have witchcraft and different types of witches. Some don't consider themselves Wiccan at all, and that's fine. Wicca is a religion. Witchcraft is a science. For some, it's a folk practice. But whereas I don't label myself as anything other than a witch, because I don't like being put in a cauldron, so to speak, or a box. Some people really do like to have an idea of an identity, and that's important for a lot of people. They want to be able to say, this is what I practice, this is what is important to me. So just to touch on a few of them, there are kitchen witches, and those are the witches that really find that their magic manifests best in the kitchen. When they're making food and drink and brews and just magical creations in the kitchen for their family and their loved ones. And everything they do in the kitchen is just really, really special and magical. That's kitchen witch. We have a hedge witch, which, according to, it's very similar to many religions. You talk to 20 different hedge witches, you're going to get 20 different definitions. Primarily, a hedge witch is a very independent. Again, don't try to define me as I try to define them. They tend to be minimalistic. They don't follow any dogma. They don't tend to follow any rules. Again, very independent. Of course, very involved with the natural world. Works a lot with herbals and preparations. But then, so that can be pretty much applied to any witch. So if you want to call yourself a hedge witch, rock on. Dianic, again, lesbian, faction goddess only, feminist, really strong feminist. They tend to be very environmentally conscious. Blessings. Wishing peace and healing and help for anyone that is being served right now by our first responders. We have coven-based witches. Self-explanatory. They work together with a group. Solitary witches, which actually everyone is. Even if you do most of your witchery with a coven, we're all solitary. Hereditary. This is interesting. Hereditary technically is someone who has been born into a witch family. So perhaps your grandmother practiced a form of witchcraft, or your mother practiced a form of witchcraft. And so you are. And that is lovely. But I want to speak on this for just a moment. I have met far too many people that is their entire identity. Some will even go back so far as to say, I had ancestry back in the Salem witch trials, or I had ancestry back in some witch trials somewhere, where those people weren't witches in any form whatsoever. They were innocent victims, wrongly accused, prosecuted, and murdered. It doesn't make you magical having that association. It doesn't make you magical having a mother or a grandmother that was a witch. Any more than it makes you a criminal if you had an ancestor that was a bank robber. But the people that will use that as a cloak, I am a witch of the 7th generation of this, that, born under, it's always a full moon. Seriously, I mean, lose that. Let me put it this way. Okay, you're the 7th granddaughter of a witch. That's great. And you let everybody know that. Perfect. Do your spells manifest? Do you even do spells? What's your who are you? What do you do? And also, would you be so enthusiastic about giving your family resume if you were the 7th daughter or the 7th granddaughter of a Nazi war criminal? Probably not. But you know what? You shouldn't be judged by that association either, because you didn't do those horrible things that Nazi war criminal did. You might not want to be associated with that person at all, and I don't blame you. So it works both ways. You don't get to take credit for something an ancestor did any more than you can take credit or should or would want to take credit for something somebody horrible in your family did. So the magic that you manifest comes from with you, the work you do, and that's what you basically take back in. So the whole hereditary thing, hey, that's all you got. We'll go on. We have Crystal Witch, are witches that tend to work with crystals and stones and gems and the earth and the dirt and crystal grids and all kinds of things like that. A lot of crystal work. Plant witch, that's a green witch. You got a plant witch, a green witch. Sometimes different lists. I've seen them on the internet. I've seen them in different magazine publications. They go to extremes, trying to break up things from a hedge witch to a plant witch to a green witch to an herbal witch. Kind of all the same thing. Oh, we're going to get to this one, baby witches. Yeah, no, if you've seen some of my videos, I've talked about at least in one, no baby witches. Unless, like my videographer, Miss Michelle here, who has a new grandbaby, who will be raised witch. Yeah. She's a really legit baby. She's just born 2 months ago. Baby. Real baby. And I will reiterate my point I had in another, see, the winds, the gods of the winds even believe me, or are encouraging me. When you start law school, you're not a baby lawyer. When you start medical school, you're not a baby doctor unless you're actually, in obstetrics or pediatrician or something like that. Studying to be a contractor, an architect, an engineer, you're not a baby contractor, architect, or a baby engineer. It's denigrating, it's insulting, and again, for a predominantly woman-based practice, and we welcome men, we love having men, many men fit very nicely into what is primarily a goddess-based religion. I don't know who came up with the baby witch concept, but I don't want to hear it. It's insulting, not to me, because I've never do that to myself. It's insulting to you. Don't call yourself a baby witch unless you are truly a baby, and then you can't speak. So, hearth witch, house witch, hearth witch, house witch. A hearth witch would seem to be someone primarily involved with fire, working with the hearth, but that could also flash over into cooking, and then the house, hearth, house, all the same, comes under the mantle of Vesta, one of the goddesses of home and hearth. It does not need to be separated. Again, I just glanced at a quick online list to just see what is out there today, what is being presented out there for people who are interested that do a Google search. There's a lot, and it doesn't need to be quite so complicated, because when you look at the definitions, they're all basically saying the same thing. Ceremonial, this is a little bit different. Now, a ceremonial witch is someone who's got the full altar and all the accoutrements and the garb and the, really likes all the flash and the bling bling and all of that. And I love that. I think that's fun at times. And then there are times when I'm not ceremonial. I'm ceremonial at wickenings, hand fastings, rites for the dead, requiem rites, initiations, things like that. There are times when you can be ceremonial, and it's very appropriate. It's like your high school graduation, your college graduation. You have the party afterwards, but you want the graduation to be formal. You want it to be important. You put the work in. So those are the times when you have it ceremonial. And then there are times when it can be very laid back. You can do your magic out in the woods. You can do it in the backyard, the front yard. You can do it just very simple and laid back. It doesn't have to be so intense. A sea witch works their magic best on the ocean or in the ocean, on the edge of the ocean, on the coastline. Then you have the sex witch. There are actual books written by various Wiccan authors or witchy authors all about sex magic. And they basically work with the concept of arousal and release during manifestation to basically manifest what it is you wish to have in your life. And one does not correlate with the other. You could be using sex to basically bring a new car into your world, or to manifest a new job, and that job could be in any industry you want. And, again, two don't correlate except as a release of power, like our cone of power, and it goes out and returns back to you threefold. So it's, again, using intensely built up energy to bring to you what you desire. And I have told people before, you can pretty much believe what you want, and I truly believe that, and you can weave the tapestry of your magical, religious, spiritual belief any way you want. But I have seen over 40 years people really try to meld Christianity, I'm talking intense Christianity, into Wicca or witchcraft, trying to make this fusion of Christian witchery. It's not a thing. I have seen several people attempt it, and it always seems to crash and burn. Again, certain things, when you say them, or certain things you're doing at a certain time, you'll get an unusual sound or some type of feedback from the environment around you, and that is definite feedback from the spirits and higher powers. It's not a thing. And you know what? If you practice a Christian type of witchery, that's great. If it manifests for you and it works very smoothly and easily in your life, that's awesome. I've seen several people attempt it, and there always seems to be a build-up, and then an explosion of personal angst and difficulty in their life. And I feel bad for them. I wish them well. And hope that they find the path they're looking for. I have never seen anybody do it successfully. That does not mean, having said that, that you can't bring in the archangels. You can't bring in various iconery. and concepts. I work with Judaic magic a lot. There's archangels I work with and different things like that that aren't Christian at all, but do have a non-Wiccan, non-pagan, origin that work very nicely. It works very nicely with my method of magic or madness. Maybe it's madness. These are just some kinds of witchery. If you really want to label something more than just witch, then sit down and figure out what you're interested in. And then give yourself the label that works best for you. You might just want a magical name, no label required, or you might want to delve into a lot of different areas until you find the label that kind of fits for you. I broke out of the box a long time ago. I don't use any kind of label. I am a witch, and that's all I need to be. People love me or hate me. There doesn't seem to be any in between, but that's okay. I'm happy with who I am, and I hope you're happy with who you are. And thank you for visiting my circle. And please like, subscribe, share. If you have any questions, this came from a question, a really good one. Not that they aren't all good, but this one was a real deep one that I could go into for you guys. Any more clarification that you need or other questions on something else, please leave that in the comments. And remember, only cool cats and kittens allowed. Thanks for visiting. Bye.